Joining Patrick this month on his right is Charles Morgan himself, and on the left, Jean-Pierre Jabouille. Patrick's in some pretty good company. First, there is the grandson of Morgan's founder and the man who had a helping hand along with his team, Auto GT Racing, in the development of the Aero 8 GT3. But the idea of actually seeing this unmistakable-looking machine amidst Aston Martins, Lamborghinis and Ferraris in European Cup competitions may seem a bit far-fetched. But Jean-Pierre is a Morgan buff, and with the help of Jacques Lafitte and Eric Sturzer, he has taken up the challenge of making a race car out of the Aero 8, and that's a tall order. Well, there was this new GT3 regulation. I thought it would be difficult, but a challenge to transform a Morgan into a race car. In GT3, there are many makes from Ferrari to Aston Martin, Lamborghini and Porsche, and I thought it was within our capabilities to do it. It's also great to see Jean-Pierre all kitted up. Who better than Jabouille to see what the car's actually got inside it? He wants to fully understand it and add his feedback into the development. Over 2 days, he tested shocks, springs, wings, brakes and ride height. Despite being a bit rusty, both man and machine are coming along nicely. It's been a year since I last drove. The feeling is okay, but I don't have the endurance physically. I did 100 laps yesterday and a lot today. I'm beginning to run competitive times, and we're moving forward. I think all the choices made in the construction of this car were correct, and between 2007 and 2008, the evolutions were not general, but rather on a specific element related to the balance between the mechanical and aerodynamic sides.
On a eu aussi une évolution aéro et une évolution entre la saison 2007 et 2008 au niveau de boîte à air et des choses comme ça, mais rien de fondamental.
Company boss Charles Morgan was on hand this day at the Magny-Cours club circuit to check out the car before it heads into competition. And this is the very first time he's gotten behind the wheel of the GT3, and it's not without a bit of pride.
Mon chassis. No, sérieusement, Jean-Pierre has helped enormously take Morgan onto an extra level, and we're very hopeful that we now have quite a competitive GT3 car.
Let's now take a much closer look at the car. Production-based, the Aero 8 doesn't perhaps have the eternal charm of its predecessor, the 4x4, which was born in 1936, but the racing version clearly has a distinctive look about it. The mix of retro and modern is both astonishing and clashing. The aerodynamics are not really its most lethal weapon. There is a nifty right-side windscreen, 3 screen wipers, and a radiator grille prolonged by its long engine cover. So feast your eyes on its beauty. Here's JPJ saying he wants to turn the faults into qualities. And also incorporating the principle, its weight. Homologated at 1,080 kilograms, 200 less than an Aston Martin DBR S9. Jean-Pierre is also pleased with the rather favourable weight distribution. At the rear is the fuel cell gearbox radiator and rear axle, all of which is stowed in the boot. Compared to the competition, the Morgan's weak point could be the engine. Not because of its pedigree, this 5-litre BMW develops 460 brake horsepower from 7,000 revs per minute, but because it's bone stock. To keep the price down, the engine and gearbox must last the season. On a fast circuit, it can be just a bit lacking compared to the other cars then. Strictly decorative, but a little reminder of the past, are the wood panels in the boot and on the dashboard, which also has its aluminium trim and round gauges. JPJ saying to start it, you push it here, here and here, and very importantly, don't forget the power steering. Time has come then to shut the small door and set off. The clutch is progressive, which limits stalling. However, Jean-Pierre, like one of his drivers, Johann Boris Schneer, told us the engine does hiccup just a bit. In this case, the clutch is used. It hiccups if the revs are too low and when stepping on the gas. Due to the fickle engine mapping, you have to go faster to be smooth on the throttle, and it does take some getting used to. One of the upsides, though, is it's easy to drive, but the gears are quite long. You only get up to 4th gear on the straight, and its chassis is perfectly suited to the circuit. A big go-kart capable of forgiving numerous mistakes or an approximate racing line. The front sticks nicely, and as you begin to pick up speed, the back end begins to follow better and better. One thing we really liked are the brakes. The car feels light and you have the sequential gearbox selector. We began to feel more and more confident because we had the number 30 Morgan to ourselves for nearly an hour. And of course we would like to thank Jean-Pierre and his team for a terrific day out. We had a tremendous time at the controls of this unique English machine. The remaining question now is, will these circuits hosting the rounds of the European GT3 Cup be favourable for the Morgan GT3? Stay tuned to find out.